Hello everyone, good evening and good day. My name is Aika Angabisan and my report is all about the LGBT psychology, lesson 13. Lesson of the objectives. When you finish reading this chapter, you should be able to discuss LGBT history and relevance of LGBT terms and explain the importance of these terms. Definition of terms. LGBT, it means like lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and acronym used to refer to different genders. Women who are emotionally and sexually attracted to women. This is the girl when have a feeling that she wanted to be a guy. And this gay, it's also a man who are emotionally and sexually attracted to the men. That is the example as a gay. And the bisexual, man or even a women who are emotionally and sexually attracted to men or women. For example, a girl. A girl wants a girl. And also that girl, she can also attracted to the man. And also she can attract a girl. That will be called bisexual. And transgender is when your gender identity, how you feel, is different from your physical sex, male or female. And then the introduction of this report is labels are so powerful. It can be used discriminate and process people, like how the Germans use the word Aryan race and meant superior, and Jews and homosexuality to justify this mass murder of what they called an inferior race. However, labels can also empower people to claim this space in our society, especially in the political aspire. Language can be also used to avoid offense or disadvantage to certain groups of people, like using person with disabilities instead of disabled African American instead of blacks, and LGBT instead of homosexuals. A view on LGBT in history. Sexual and emotion attraction toward the same sex has been throughout history of mankind. In China, 600 BCE, they used the term of pleasures of the beaten peach and broke back in Japan. But in Japan, they have shudo or nanshuku, and kathoi is used in Thailand to refer to the ladies' boys. In the Philippines, we have a babaylan and the katalunan, who were mostly women priests, but some are males who live their lives as a woman. And society attitude towards a human sexuality and another gender variants changing through history. An ancient rank to all males are expected to take a younger male lover and practice. It's called pederasty. Pederasty. Some societies, like indigenous Native Americans, accepted the celebrate that they called two spirit person in dance to birdage. However, later cultures see it as a sin. Following the Abrahamic religion, which branded it as sodomy, a crime against nature. As these cultures colonize other countries, it enforces its beliefs as systems of viewing same-sex attraction as the sin through violence, such as killing homosexuals through burning, stoning, or being fed to the dogs. The view of the LGBT history also is human sexuality was classified as an illness in 19th century as a basis for them to legally persecute human sexual and imprison and commit them to the mental institution. An example of this persecution is that an Alan Turing, the father of modern of computing, who was prosecuted in 1952 for homosexuality acts. He was sentenced with criminal castration treatment and he later died through the cyanide poisoning. As a science advanced through years of expensive research, the APA removed human homosexuality as a psychiatric disorder or a sickness in 1973. This decision was after many years of struggle from the gay and lesbian liberation of movement. APA finally declared that being attracted to the people of the same sex is a natural variation of the human experience, and it does not make anyone any less of a healthy and functionally human being. Now that society is more accepting towards the LGBT, new terms and labels have been used to cater to everyone. The ABS of the LGBT, and an effort towards visibility and inclusions. A few letters were added to the LGBT. The terms homosexual sounds too clinical and it's no longer inequality represents and the diversity within the LGBT community. These labels are changing. Some you may be familiar with it, but others may be very new to you, so let us try to explain it as simple as we can. Okay? The lesbian, women who are emotionally and sexual attracted to women. For example, if you are a woman, you can also attractive as a like you as a woman. And the example of a being gay, number 2 is a gay. Men who are emotionally and sexual attracted to men. When the men have an attracted to men, that will be called a gay. And the number 3 is bisexual. Bisexual, men or women who are emotionally and sexually attracted to the men and women. For example, if me is a girl, I also attracted a boy and I also attracted a girl. That will be called bisexual. Bisexual. And transgender, when you gender identity, how you feel is different from your physical sex. If you are a male or female, for example, if I am a girl and if I am a girl, I wanted to be a male someday. What I feel in my own emotions, what am my own feeling inside of me. I feel like I wanted to be a man. That will be called transgender. And queer used to be people who celebrate all genders, identities. Can also mean someone who do not want to restrict as a lesbian, gay, or bi. That will be go. That will be, let me say, gay or bisexual. Okay, bisexual, lesbian. That will be all the queer. That will be that they call the queer is they how they can celebrate gender identities, and intersex. It's called people who were born with sex genitals or chromosomes patterns that do not fit the typical male or female to the body that they call. If me, I feel like my personality is not equality. I feel like my my I feel like I wanted to be a man like that. So I'm not comfortable with my gender. That would be called an intersex. And the asexual ally as sexual are people who do not feel a sexual attraction to anyone, but it doesn't mean that they do not engage in romantic or sexual relationships. Allies are straight or heterosexual people who are fighting for LGBT rights. Yeah, ally can. I am straight. I will example myself that I am straight, but I'm not totally easy to attract a man and a girl, just like an ally. But the ally is also supporting the LGBT. And then plus, the plus sign refers to all all sexualities that do not fit in the LGBTQ spectrum. So, knowledge on human sexuality is still evolving, so there are many terms that pops up. Here are a few more to help us to become more inclusive. Okay, let's start an androgynous. People who has gender expression, their physical appearance may or may not be in the strict male or female. And about the gender, you may internal sense of being masculine or feminine or neither. And the gender identity, how you feel, man or women or neither. And fourth is a gender expression, how you express your sense of being male or how you express your sense of being female or neither, maybe through the hairstyle, clothes, or maybe in etc. Sexual orientation, your emotional and sexual attraction is attraction to a person. That will be a sexual orientation. And 5 1 is sex no 7 is the sex assigned at the birth. You given a sex when you were born based on your sex organ. That will be called a sex assigned at birth. And the cast gender is when your gender identity matches with your sex you are assigned at the birth. Yeah. You're not a lesbian, you're not a you're not a gay, but you are straight, okay? And non-binary people who not feel like a boy or a girl. They may feel like they are both or neither. So sometimes they used to be pronounced they, them, are theirs. For example, if I ever feel like I don't feel like I am a girl. I wanted to feel like a guy. Just like that. He wanted to be a lesbian. That's for example. And there are many other terms that we have not discussed here, but these are the basics of the ABCs of the LGBTQIA. Understanding and transgenderism. Okay, so society attach a lot of meanings to our biological sex or physical sex. Okay, sorry. Parents acknowledging set up a gender-based patterns are raising their children upon knowing the biological sex of of their babies. Pinks for girls and blue for boys is a reflection of our heteronormative culture wherein we expect females to be feminine and males to be masculine. That will be the example. And number two, this is limited view on sexuality makes it harder for those who do not fit in the box of masculinity and femininity, like the lesbian, like the gays, and bisexuals. However, it makes it so much more difficult to trust a transgender people. Those who feel like they were born in a wrong body or given a wrong biological sex. And who is that? Who is a transgender? Okay. This is the question of our report for now, but I will explain it fluently to you. The APA defines transgender as a umbrella terms of person who has gender identity, gender expression, or behavior does not conform to the typical associated with the sex to which they are were assigned at birth. This means that transgender person does not feel uncomfortable in their biological sex like a person who is born male but feels like a female. And a person who is born female may feel like he is a male. This feeling or a gender identity is not sometimes a changing through times, but it is feeling that they have since childhood. This creates a problem for heteronormative society wherein everyone is expected and forced to fit in the box of male masculinity and female femininity. However, history tells us that in different cultures across the world and in different times in our history, there are people who live their life expressing the gender that is different from their biological sex. This gender nonconformity or gender crossing were celebrated by Native Americans through the Bird Age or the two-spirit people we call. We also have our own babaylan or katalunan. Pre-colonia priests who are the most females but some are males who live their lives as a female priest. The word transgender is also used as umbrella term. You know why? Because this means that there are many identities under this term. Transsexuals, for example, is often used in the medical field to refer to people whose gender identity is different from their biological sex and they may want to change their body so it resembles how they feel about their gender identity. A biological male person may feel like she is a woman since she was just a child in adulthood. She was choose to have an hormonal replacement therapy or a sex reassignment surgery. Medical advancement have helped a transgender gender people live a full life. However, it can be a long, difficult, and expensive process. Okay, other sexualities under the transgender umbrella terms included FTM, female to female, a person whose biological sex is female and has a transitioned to live his life as a male. And it called MTF, mate to female, a person whose biological sex is male and has transitioned transitioned to live her life as a female. Cross-dressing. Some people want to dress as the opposite gender from time to time. However, unlike the transsexual, they are comfortable identifying with their biological sex. And the number 4 is a drag kings and queens. There are people who feel like their gender does not fit the gender binary view that is limited for the male or female category because they feel that these are too restrictive. The transition process. Okay, here we go in the transition process. When a person realizes that he or she may be a transgender, a psychologist can guide the person through the transition. especially when the person wants to go through a permanent changes in sex reassignment to surgery. In some countries, transitioning is covered by their medical insurance and they get support from their employers and family, which is a very crucial during transitional because of these years of fully transition. These are transgender people who cannot have or do not want to have a hormonal replacement therapy or a sex reassignment surgery because of personal, economic, or cultural reason, and that is okay. Transi- Transitioning to other gender is a very challenging process for many transgender people because of the social stigma. Discrimination, medical cost, accessibility of medical treatment and support, oppressive laws in each country, and the threat or violence from prejudice, prejudiced people. Okay. Some countries allow for transgender people to change their legal gender from male to female or female to male. Now, this recognition is a product of the decades of collective efforts of transgender community and LGBTQ plus community. However, Philippines still lack the laws of the medical capacity to support transgender people in living their full potential. The proper use of pronouns he or she should be observed when talking to the transgender person to show respect as decent human being. After when the person is a clearly presenting herself a female, by the way they dress and carry themselves, it is safe assume that they want to see she and her. The same goes from the transgender man who is clearly presenting himself as a man. You may say use him or her. However, it is always a good practice to ask them for their preferred pronouns instead of assuming but do not so in polite way. So you need to be careful for that. The summary of this report is a labels are important especially in acceptance and promotional for human being. The evolution the evolution of the terms of use that describe people who are emotionally and sexually attracted to the same have evolved through the time. From human sexuality, the gay to LGBTQ. Let us remember that we are all humans, born free and equal. Thank you. That will be all. Thank you. My name is Aika M. Gabisan. Thank you for watching.